Welcome back to Capitol Tonight. Talking about energy policy is particularly difficult. So tonight, I'm going to compare our next topic to eating at Chipotle, which is easy. If you've been there, you know you have an array of toppings that you can choose from. Lots of chicken, for example. Yes to guacamole. No to sour cream. Just a little cilantro. Every few years, members of our New York State Planning Board, Energy Planning Board, meet to do sort of the same thing, like a little gas, a little solar, a little wind, but with energy. And their last meeting was on June 25th when they discussed pathways that advance the state's multiple objectives. And those objectives include affordability, reliability, economic development while supporting equity and a healthy environment. Joining me to explain what all this means is Doreen Harris. She is the president and CEO of NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority. Great to see you, Doreen.
Great to be here. Not a fan of cilantro, but the rest work for me.
Neither am I. Neither am I. So how frequently does the state put out an energy plan?
It has been a number of years. We updated the plan when our climate law was passed in 2019, but this has been a while, and it's in a very important function to plan for the coming 15 years of the energy needs of our state.
Absolutely. This year's Pathways Analysis, that's what we're calling it, it explores various scenarios that uses the state's energy supply and delivery systems to forecast the state's energy needs through 2040 while meeting the objectives that I just talked about, like affordability and reliability. What are some of the factors that you need to consider? And I'm assuming one of them is the fact that AI is big now, and we have to accommodate that need for electricity.
It's true. I mean, certainly it is true that we look at multiple futures for the state. Even in 15 years, a lot can change.
Absolutely.
But certainly we're planning, we call it a bottoms-up assessment. So we look at what we need and we look at how we can ultimately meet those needs. So reliability, affordability, and clean are all priorities certainly of Governor Hochul, and we're working to solve for all of them at the same time.
Can you share what could be on our energy menu? Like, is our chicken still going to be gas?
Well, it is the case that we see increasing amounts of renewable energy serving our electric needs as a state. But it is also true, I think, that one key finding of the energy plan is that in those 15 years, we're going to need to continue to rely on the fossil systems that we have today.
This is a change.
And it is a change, but it's an important one because of what we're solving for. We need a reliable grid, and we need to look in a clear-eyed manner as to how to achieve it.
So the climate law, which was passed in 2019, has some specific mandates in law. Is that going to be addressed?
So we have multiple scenarios we're looking toward, but one of them is the achievement of our climate law, and it does look at that as one potential planning scenario. But it also looks at what our existing policies will achieve, and specifically the challenges that we've seen. It reflects the deployment pace that we see and really solves for those energy needs of the future.
So for those who are watching who are like, well, what about the 100% by 2040 or whatever it is? What do you say to that?
What we say to it is our climate law has had a very important role to play in really building up the renewable energy and the clean energy of the future. But when we look into the future, it is the case that those resources are taking longer to deploy. We remain committed. There's an 80% increase in their deployment over this planning horizon, but we know we need to balance those with other resources as well.
So you just mentioned 80%. I read that electricity production in New York could increase by 80% or more between 2025 and 2035. Even in a scenario with persistent headwinds, that's what you guys wrote in the plan. But how do you sort of figure that out when the federal government is basically devaluing this kind of renewables and making gas and other fossil fuels more important?
Well, what we see from the federal context is very relevant, and it has created a situation and literally slashing the very tools that we have to meet this need in the near term. We have hundreds of renewable energy projects that are impacted by this federal context. So when we look at the coming years, we know we need to maximize their deployment, but in a manner that, again, reflects the reality of the day. And that's really what this plan is about, is pragmatic planning.
Yeah. So in terms of how this is going to affect people who are watching this program right now, what does it mean for the shift, for example, to electric vehicles or electric kitchen appliances?
Well, we continue to see progress in that respect, but I'd say that the plan reflects, as I said, a more pragmatic look at what our progress is likely to be and plans against it. So your average New Yorker, energy is a very big deal in our lives.
100%.
It looks at the ways in which we can preserve that critical system to achieve the economic, health, and I'd say lifestyle outcomes that we seek as a state as well.
So this is sort of a shift in policy.
It's looking at our world from the perspective of what we have on the ground and what we reasonably can achieve in those coming 15 years.
It's sort of a more realistic look.
That's the task of the Energy Planning Board, is this bottoms-up look at how our energy system will evolve. And it is evolving, but it is evolving in a manner that's informed by the reality of the day.
Okay. This draft state energy plan, which is what we're talking about, is going to be out sometime this summer, and then the public can comment on it, correct?
Yes, we'll have an extended comment period, but also we'll have hearings all across our state over the course of the fall, really looking to wrap this up optimally by the end of the year so that we can set forward this path collectively as soon as possible.
Terrific. Very interesting. We've been discussing the state's draft energy plan with NYSERDA's president and CEO, Doreen Harris. It's always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage. And click the subscribe button here. You can also download our app and watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.